Hello, hello. What we're going to do now is parallel lines and triangles. All right, let's see what happens with all of this good stuffs. So, first thing we got to cover is what's called your parallel postulate. And it says, through a point, not on a line, there is one and only one line parallel to the given line. Which, basically, what that's saying is that through a point, here's our point P, not on our line. Here's our line L, and point P is not on it. So that lets me know there is one and only one line parallel to this one that goes through P, and that's my red line. So basically what it's saying, if I draw another line that goes through P, any other line will not be parallel to my green line. There's only one. Okay? So that's important to remember. There's only one. Now, triangle sum theorem. This may be something you guys have read before and seen, that the measures of the angles of a triangle, if you add them all up, it adds up to 180. So again, that's called your triangle sum theorem. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Take a triangle, add it up, angle sum, theorem, 180 degrees. So let's work with that triangle angle sum theorem. And what we're told is this lovely picture here. We're given some angle measures, and we're asked to find the values of x and y in our diagram. So let's look at, where do I start? Okay, I need to start with the triangle where I know at least two angles. So you see here, if I use this triangle here, ABD, I know angle A and I know angle B. So that's going to be the triangle I start with. So I'm going to use my triangle sum theorem that the measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B plus the measure of angle D equals 180 degrees. So if I substitute in, angle A is 59, angle B is 43, and the measure of angle D, well, that's x. That's what I'm looking for. So we have 180. So combine like terms, 59 and 43 is what? 102 plus x equals 180. And then I need to subtract 102 from both sides. Subtract 102, and I get that x is 78 degrees. All right. Now that I know x is 78 degrees here, how could I find y? Because I don't have this whole triangle. You see how with this triangle I've got angle B, but I have a variable for angle C and I have a variable for angle D. So I can't use that these three angles add up to 180. I have to instead use my linear pair. Right here I have a linear pair. So I know angle x and angle y have to add up to 180. So I know that x plus y is 180, and I know that x is 78. So 78 plus y equals 180. So if I subtract 78 from both sides, I get that y equals 102. Alright, good job you guys for your triangle sum theorem. Now, let's break this down into some different types of angles. These angles for your triangle sum theorem are all interior angles. Now, we can have an exterior angle. And an exterior angle is the angle that comes from taking an interior and making a linear pair with it. Okay, so an exterior angle of polygon is an angle formed by a side and an extension of an adjacent side. So basically your linear pairs here. So notice that they have to add to 180, that they are supplementary. Now, this is another vocab word, remote interior angles. Remote interior angles are the two non-adjacent interior angles. So they are two non-adjacent interior angles. So angle 3 right here is my exterior. My adjacent angle, my adjacent interior is this angle. So my remote interiors are angle 1 and angle 2 because they are not adjacent. Now, there's something special here with these remote interior angles, and it comes down to our triangle exterior angle theorem, which says the measure of each exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the measures of its two remote interior angles. Alright, well, let's look at why. Okay, I'm going to label this angle here as angle 4. And let's talk about some things that we know here. We know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 should equal 180. And the reason why is because linear pairs are supplementary. But I also know that the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4 should also equal 180, and that is because of my triangle sum theorem. Well, if I have two things that both equal 180, does it make sense that they should equal each other? So what I can do is, going back to like that law of syllogism where if something equals 180 and then 180 equals something else, I can take out the middle. Or going back to like how we called it transitive before, how you can figure out your path from angle 1 plus angle 4 goes to 180, and 180 goes to angle 2 plus angle 3 plus angle 4. So I can go to the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 4 equals the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4. Alright, and we can call that transitive. Transitive? Okay. Now, look, I've got an angle 4 on both sides, so I'm just going to subtract the measure of angle 4 from both sides. I'm going to get rid of it, okay? So what's that leave me with? It leaves me with the measure of angle 1 equals, because these guys are now canceled, those guys are now canceled, the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3, which is exactly what my triangle exterior angle theorem says. So the exterior angle, angle 1, equals the sum of my two remote interiors. So let's see if we can put that to work here. What is the measure of angle 1? So we have our triangle here. We got angle 1, we have 80 and we have 18. Well, let's make sure we know which one's exterior and which one's interior. So angle 1 is my exterior angle, which means the measure of angle 1 equals 80 plus 18. So the measure of angle 1 equals 98 degrees. Okay? Now, if you forget how to do that, you got some other options. You can remember that your interior angles have to add up to 180, right? So I'm going to call this angle 2. So I can go that 80 plus 18 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. Well, 80 and 18 is 98 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. So if I subtract 98 from both sides, I get that the measure of angle 2 is that 72? 72 degrees? So if angle 2 now is 72 degrees. 72 degrees. So what I can do from here is remember that these two angles make a linear pair. So those two angles have to add to 180. So if I do one, it's definitely not 72. Why can't you people help me with my math, huh? Not 72. How about some 82? Aha. 82. So if I do 180 minus 82, that leaves me with angle 1 being 98 degrees. So this way happens to be a much, much shorter way than having to go through all of these steps. So the exterior angle equals the sum of your two remote interior angles. Okay? So let's look at this one. What's the measure of angle 2? So again, we have an exterior angle and we have interior angles. So the measure of my exterior angle equals the sum of my two remote interior angles. So 124 equals the measure of angle 2 plus 59. So to solve this, I can subtract 59 degrees. And let's see, that's 14, makes that a 1, and that gives me a 5, and an 11 minus 5 is 6. So I have 65 degrees for the measure of angle 2. Sounds good. Now, if you forget your exterior angle theorem, you can always find a little path out. What you can do is you can remember that these guys right here are a linear pair, so they have to add up to 180. So if I have 180 minus 124, that's going to give me a 10 and make that a 7. So it's a 6 and a 5. It makes this angle here 56 degrees. Now I can do my triangle sum theorem and do 56 plus 59 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. Well, 56 and 59 is what, 115 plus the measure of angle 2 equals 180. Subtract 115 and you get that the measure of angle 2 is again 65 degrees. So both ways work. However, this way is a lot shorter. It takes you one step. So it's a good thing to remember your exterior angle theorem. And last one, when the radar tracks an object, the reflection of signals off the ground can result in clutter. Clutter causes the receiver to confuse the real object with its reflection, called a ghost. At the right, there is a radar receiver at A, an airplane at B, and the airplane's ghost is at D. What is the value of X? So I'm looking for the angle from the airplane to the, what was that called again? My radar. There we go. And then from my radar to the ground. Well, this is an interior angle, and this is an interior angle, and I have an exterior angle out here. So easiest thing to do is that 80 equals 30 plus X. So the value of X is 50. All right, you guys. See ya later.